So for my final project, I went with the Laramie project, and a lot of my ideas in my original presentation were really generalized, so I wanted to go more specific and also go more in depth with some things. So I'll start with my scenic design. I didn't really need to change anything for this. I mostly added more like video elements that I'll be talking about later. So just as like a quick rundown, all the actors will be on stage at all times, so the audience can like see their reactions and their body language in response to certain things. And on the side here we have like this is where props and costume pieces would be for the actors to change into. And then here in the middle I have a center spotlight where like solo moments or monologues, that's where the actors would go for those. And then platforms on the sides, and that's where we would have like the 2-person, 3-person scenes, or scenes where like two characters are talking on the phone to show some distance between them, and also to show like differing opinions and just kind of distance between two groups of people, like those who accept Matthew Shepard and the LGBT community and those who don't. And then the video back here, so at the start of the show I would have like the title and the place, and then that would change like for some scenes I have like nature pictures, and other ones I have like pictures of Matthew Shepard and pictures from the vigil, and also like some other important scenes. And it's mostly just black and white. I wanted to go for more like just like a bare bones start kind of feel, because the action takes place with like the characters and the emotions happening. Okay, so going back to my presentation, I mainly focused on lighting and scenery and also video as well. So overall I wanted my lighting to be like soft and blown out, because this play happened in the past and it's a recollection of memories and events from different people done during emotionally charged scenes like the climax of the play, and as well as several other moments. I wanted the lighting to have like harsh and clashing colors, because discrimination and hate crimes against LGBTQ people are still happening today, and I want to like make the audience aware of that, like kind of snap their attention to it and make them realize this isn't just in the past, it's still happening now. So for the pre-show, I would just have like soft rainbow lights on the stage floor, like kind of like a slight reference to the LGBT community. And then for Act 1, so I would have the show open with a sunrise, because that's one of the like central themes, like that was something Matthew Shepard saw before he died. And it would have warm tones like red and oranges and golds to kind of like lure you into this like false sense of security almost, because that's something that like it's kind of like you wouldn't expect this to happen in such like a beautiful town and beautiful area. And it would be like a really, like if someone hadn't seen the play before, it would be a really big shock to them that this happened, and if they didn't know about it. So then going into the play, we would have the sunrise fade in journal entries, and the lights would go up on the company members on the right platform. And then every time an actor is in a spotlight, I want to have like swirling warm and cool colors before they get to their spotlight, just to kind of show like the differing opinions and differing personalities that the actors have or characters have. And also because some solo moments and monologues are really like personal and upsetting, while others are more like hopeful and wholesome, I guess. Then a lot of the scenes I have actors on platforms, either opposing or they're on the same ones, and those platforms are lit up with just like a regular warm tone spotlight. Yeah, basically every time an actor is on the platform, they have the light on them just for visuals so they can be seen. And then for the word scene, or the word moment, we have kind of like bluish tone lighting for the priest, and with like a jewel tone gobo to mimic stained glass windows. And then I would have all three priests on one platform and like in a semicircle facing out, because they're all like different people, but they're basically like in the same group. And then for the fireside moment, I wanted to mimic like the feel of like a club, like those like pulsing red and yellow and blue lights, like. And then it would also be shadowy because we know what happened right before when they were at the club. So, and then we'd also have the actors like scattered around the stage because they're like different people and they're not really in the same group, so I would have them in different areas, and then the audience's attention would be drawn to them because they're more spread apart instead of just clumped together. And every time I write that the actors are scattered, I wanted it to say that like the lights are up so you can see them all at the same time. And then during the moments with the killers, McKinney and Henderson, so during the lines for the character Anonymous, like the stage would be in shadows and there'd be like very soft, like dim blue lighting, and it would be hard to see the other actors. And hold on a sec. Sorry about that. And then during the fence and finding Matthew Shepard, so we would have the sunrise lighting again to kind of bring back that theme of Matthew Shepard, his last night before he died. And we'd also have like I also wanted to have fast swirling lights to kind of capture that feel of anxiety and anticipation and dread that the people were feeling who were connected with Matthew. And then the soft lights would become more harsh during the Doctor's last lines because they have a big impact, and it's the climax of the play. And then for Act 2, so we're just continuing those harsh, warm tones and scattered actors on stage with the first moment, a Laramie man, and then we have more of that contrast with characters in spotlights and opposite lit up platforms. And then during the Gem City moment, I wanted to have like flashing blues and cool tone whites to mimic camera flashes and harsh lighting. And another idea I had was to use like cool tones to give like a clinical feel instead of more of a naturey, outdoorsy feel. And then the actors would be scattered as well. And then during the medical update scene, I wanted to use like soft, cool tone white and blue to mimic like fluorescent lights and maybe have them like flicker a little bit to kind of capture that feel of the lights that are typically in a hospital. And then we have characters in spotlights as well. And then for the email, the moment email, we would have the character on a platform and they would be turning to look at the video screen. And then for the vigil scene, I wanted to have like dim lighting and shadows to kind of get that sad memorial feel across. And then I also wanted to have flickering like warm tone lights at the foot of the stage to mimic candles, because that was a strong theme in the vigil scene. And then we have more spotlights, more lighting on platforms. During the moment, two queers and a Catholic priest, I wanted to go back to that, the lighting that I used during the word with the blue tones and the swirling gobo for the stained glass effect. And then for lifestyle 2, I wanted to have that opposing feel again, so we have actors on opposite sides, and then we have the rain effect with lighting, and also maybe a little bit of sound as well. And then for that night, so this is the moment when we find out that Matthew Shepard has died, and this is when, so the spotlight would be on the character who is talking about his death at the time, and then it gets more the spotlight gets more harsh and bright during Medical Update 3 and Magnitude, and this kind of like drives home the fact that this is like a terrible thing that happened. And then Hope, we have the illuminated platform again and characters on the one platform. Okay, so for Act 3, we have, it starts with like stark and harsh lighting and contrast of light and dark and shadows. And then during the angel moment, lighting becomes more warm tone and more cool tones to kind of like, to give the idea of like heaven and angels. And then going back to like the fluorescent lights, we have that during jury selection with dim warm tones, and then the actors are lit up by their chairs and the rest of the stage is dark. Most of it is just things that I've already talked about, except for the last two moments. Like, so epilogue has the lights are up on stage and the warm tones with some shadows, and the lighting is more soft and diffused, like signaling that the play is coming to an end and things are kind of wrapping up. And then the lights would go out on the last line of this moment, of the last moment. And then for video, so I used specific images that tied in with Laramie and also Matthew Shepard and his life and the events after his death. So here I have landscape scenes of Laramie, and then I have the fireside bar here at night and during the daytime. And I would have these fade into each other with certain lines and certain moments. I also have the fence scene, the vigil, and the homecoming image here. And then these two would be the last two images, so this one would come up first, and then it would fade to this one, the memorial plaque, and that would that would stay on the video screen as the house lights go up. So some themes and concepts that I wanted to touch on, like themes, basically just conflicts, like good versus evil, love versus hate, acceptance versus discrimination, light and dark. The love versus hate and good versus evil ideas came from my class's discussion about it, how love and hate are basically the same thing, just two very different, or not different, but two sides of the same coin, basically, because they're both very extreme emotions towards another person or group of people. And then light versus dark, I wanted to use that in like the harsh lighting and the shadows, and also like the soft versus and diffused. And then acceptance versus discrimination, that's obviously a very big theme of the play and the events around Matthew Shepard. So some concepts I also wanted to touch on, like the shifts between warm and cool lighting. They show differing opinions and emotional tone and mood. The actors are on stage at all times, so the audience can see their reactions and body language, kind of like bringing the audience into it as well, because they're not just watching people play these characters, it's like they are the characters. And then like with my pre-show lighting, I had like a slight reference to the LGBTQ community. It's not overt though, because like while sexuality is the topic of the play, is not really the main focus. And then that also kind of ties into the idea that also, although society has come a long way, LGBTQ discrimination and hate crimes still occur today. So that is the end of my presentation, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and I hope that you all have a nice holiday break. Okay.